Hello, welcome. This is a brief essential Canvas tutorial to master the basics in preparation for winter 2023 quarter. My name is Paige Coleman and I am Canvas faculty support with Learning Technologies and Spaces. We are part of the Office of the Vice Provost for Student Affairs. Before I begin, I'd like to emphasize if you have any questions at all during this brief essential tutorial or in general while learning to utilize and navigating Canvas, please submit a ticket at canvashelp@stanford.edu. Again, that is canvashelp@stanford.edu. I promise your request will not get lost in some very long ticket queue. We have an absolutely amazing and highly responsive support team. So let's jump right in. To navigate to Canvas, type in canvas.stanford.edu into a URL. It's important to note that Canvas works best in Chrome or Firefox. If this is your first time entering Canvas, leave some additional time to web authenticate, for you will be prompted to do so. Once you enter Canvas through canvas.stanford.edu, you are immediately taken to your dashboard. At the very top of the screen, we will highlight some global announcements. Please do not just close out a global announcement. We really do reserve this space for pertinent information only. If you do accidentally close out a global announcement, it is accessible again by clicking on Account, scrolling down to Global Announcements. And here you will be able to view your current and your recent. I'm now going to navigate back to Dashboard. If you do exit out as well, a blue bar will appear that will allow you to view it immediately by clicking View. Now, scrolling down on your dashboard, you will have published and unpublished courses. The default view for courses is unpublished. So if you don't see your course initially, please scroll down. Each course card here represents a course that you're teaching, or from the student perspective, a course that you're enrolled in. We pull information from the registrar, we do not push it back. So if you do not see a course here that you're teaching or enrolled in and you've scrolled down and you're definitely looking at unpublished courses, please contact the registrar or your department admin. The absolute last thing you should do when your course is student ready, student facing ready, would be to publish the course. I'm going to navigate back to the global menu now and click on Account. Before I delve into a course, I just want to highlight a few account features. I'm navigating to Profile. I'm dragging my cursor over to the right side of the page where these three dots are visible, and I can edit my profile. Here I can add contact information, a short bio, I can add links. I can also upload my own picture or my own avatar, and this is separate from the registrar course ID card. This would be your own picture. It doesn't sync to the registrar. Now I'm going to navigate down to Settings. If you draw your attention to the right side of the screen under Ways to Contact, I have my Stanford email address highlighted and denoted because the star is highlighted as my default. We highly recommend you utilize your Stanford email address as your default way of contact. If you do not, this could create a barrier to entry to particular tools within Canvas. For instance, the collaborations tool, which is synced directly to Stanford Google Docs, your Stanford Google Doc account. This could also create a barrier to entry for Zoom. So we highly recommend you denote Stanford email address as default. You can add other ways to contact as well. I would also make a note in mentioning this to students. I'm now going to navigate to notifications. Again, when these blue bars appear, please take the time to read them. Within notification settings, the instructors and students have the ability to select their preferences regarding how the frequency with which they'd like to receive notifications. I'm going to scroll down and highlight one. For instance, announcements. The bell is denoted, which means notify immediately. However, when I click on it, these are the options available to me. In the past, once you selected your notification preferences here, it would apply to all courses, but that is no longer the case. You can drill down course per course and select different notification preferences for each course. So if you are going to communicate and rely on Canvas to communicate heavily with students, I recommend making them aware as well so they know to go turn particular notifications on for your course. I'm now going to navigate back to my global menu and click on Dashboard. I'm going to scroll down to an unpublished course to highlight a few features. Now, if you have taught in the past and you want to import that course content from a previous quarter's Canvas course over to the current quarter's Canvas course, you can do so. You would click on the current quarter's Canvas course card from your dashboard. You would scroll down, you can click Settings, and then if you draw your attention to the right side of the screen under Course Status, I'm going to click Import Course Content. Now, within Content Type, I'm going to click on the caret next to Select One, and I'm going to copy a Canvas course. I'm going to begin typing in the name of the previous Canvas course or the code. It takes a few seconds. It will appear. You can click on it. Within content, we do not recommend all content. We do recommend clicking on Select Specific Content. I'm going to click Import. And then I can see my current jobs. I'm able to view them. You should only have one. This is my demo course. I'm going to click Select Content. And here's where I go through and I select the content I'd like to copy over. I'm going to scroll down and click Select Content. And then the course job will queue, and it should only take a few minutes. I'm now navigating back to home. If you have any questions during this process or you're encountering difficulties, this is another perfect example of just submitting a ticket to canvashelp@stanford.edu. Please do not waste more than 5 to 10 minutes trying to figure this out. This is why we are here. Now I'm just going to highlight a few more features considering this is our essential overview. If you are interested in learning more, there is a full basic overview session recording as well. And if you'd like an individual consult, again, you can submit a ticket requesting one. I'd first like to highlight 2 housekeeping items, one being roster photos. Roster photos are only visible to teaching teams. I am going to show you a more robust video or robust image since this is my demo course. Okay. Now, students have the ability to navigate to Access and record their pronouns and their name pronunciation, which we pull into Canvas roster photos. This has recently been updated, so if you've used it in the past, I recommend clearing your cache in Roster Photos tool to be able to view the update. But this tool is a wonderful way to familiarize yourself with the students in your course. So you'll be able to view their preferred pronouns, and then you'll also be able to listen to their name pronunciation. One more feature here I'd like to mention is the download roster button. Now, at times, we have encountered in Canvas a lag in communication, in notifications being sent out in a timely manner, and that could be for a whole plethora of reasons. However, downloading the roster in the beginning of the quarter and then after the add drop period is kind of like a fail-safe, where it will provide you with a CSX file of students' names and their emails. So just in case there is a lag time in communication in Canvas, you will have the students' names and emails as a backup and can always just send them a blanketed email. Now, the People tool within Canvas is visible to students. However, they will only be able to view names, sections, and roles. I do not recommend hiding this tool, especially if you are going to employ a lot of group-based, project, collaborative-based work. I think it's important for students to be able to see who else is in the course, especially in creating collaborations and selecting their groups. Moving on to the syllabus tool. The default view in your course is the syllabus view unless you change it. So as soon as students enter your course, they will be brought immediately to the syllabus view. We highly recommend one of the first things you do as a best practice is upload your course syllabus. You can click on the edit pencil icon, the top right. And as you can see here, this is called the Rich Content Editor box, and this box remains consistent amongst other tools in Canvas as well, for instance, creating announcements, discussions, or assignments. When I click on these carrots, I can see my options to add links, upload images, course media, and documents. I'm now going to upload my syllabus, so I'm going to upload a document from my desktop. Course documents is everything you've already brought over into files, and I'll highlight that next. I'm going to upload a document. I'm going to click on the rocket ship, and I'm going to upload my syllabus. However, it has yet to be inserted. I must scroll down, and in order for something to be published and viewable to students, I must select my usage rights. I hold the copyright, going to click Submit. This yellow toolbar will appear, which means it's inserted. However, I must still scroll down and click Update Syllabus. And there you can see the syllabus file. You can also copy and paste your entire syllabus into the Rich Content Editor box as well. And there is one caveat with the syllabus tool. Whereas whenever you add content to your Canvas course, that's only visible to those enrolled in your course. However, with the syllabus tool, whenever you add a document to the syllabus tool or a file, it feeds out to syllabus.stanford.edu. So it's searchable to others within the Stanford community. That being said, still note that this is behind the web authenticated wall as well. So only Stanford students will be able to access syllabus.stanford.edu and view your syllabus. Navigating back to my course, I'm now going to highlight files, and we recommend this is the second best practice. First, upload your syllabus and then come to files. It's very easy to further design and develop your course in Canvas once all your content for the quarter has been brought over to files. I'm going to click Upload. Now, as you can see, when I uploaded this document, a red exclamation mark appeared. Again, in order to publish this file by clicking on this circle with the slash through it, I must select usage rights. So I'm going to click on the exclamation mark, and I'm going to choose my usage rights, and I'm going to click Publish. Now I'm going to upload another document. Now let's say you're uploading all your documents. You can also drag and drop documents from your desktop into this box. Now let's say I'm doing that. You must imagine it would be a lot of clicking to select the usage rights for every file. However, there is a hack here. If you are on a Mac, press Command A. If you're on a PC, press Control A. As you can see, everything highlighted in blue, which allows me to have bulk functionality. So you can delete according to bulk. You can manage the usage rights right here, which I'm going to do. I hold the copyright. I'm going to click Publish and Save. You can move content around. You can download all the documents as a zip. You can manage access, which means you can further lock a file down according to a time frame, dates and times. And you can view in a toggle screen. You can also organize your files according to folders. I recommend making this consistent with your syllabus. It's just easier to navigate. You can unpublish and publish directly within files. Regarding naming conventions, we do not recommend utilizing dates because if you're going to copy this quarter's content into another quarter, all those dates will also copy over and they'll no longer be relevant. So you'll be creating a lot of extra work for yourself to go in and have to edit all those dates. So we recommend utilizing project names, themes, week, numbers, units. I'm now going to scroll over to my global dashboard and click on Help. Okay. These are all the help options available to you. Again, this is just an essentials video. So if you have more questions, please watch the full basic Canvas overview or submit a ticket at canvashelp@stanford.edu. Request help from Stanford Canvas support is the same as submitting a ticket to canvashelp@stanford.edu. And you also have all these other options available to you as well. The other one I'd like to note is browse Stanford Canvas FAQs. These are Stanford Canvas help articles that have been carefully curated to answer our questions and address our needs here on Stanford's campus. The absolute last thing you would do is publish your course when it's student-facing ready. You can publish by clicking Publish Course within the red box. You can publish under course status. You also have the option to publish when you're in settings. Under course status, and this red bar appears. And then if I navigate back to my dashboard, the option to publish is directly on the course card within the Publish button. I hope you all have a lovely quarter, and I'd just like to leave you with Canvas help at stanford.edu.